All right, everybody. Welcome to round two of
Round
the
two.
quarantine special Media Mixology. You
Round
can
two.
see we're all wearing the same clothes. You can see we're filming this at the same time. And you also know that we have mixed drinks or beverages in the beginning of each of these. So
That's
here
right.
we
And
go.
just for the record, I've been wearing the same shirt since quarantine began, so it's an experiment.
Ah, nice. How's it
I'm
going
Dave
so far?
Ruppel. I am the Vice President of Insights at Underscore. Joining me is Oliver Nelson, the Vice President of Integrated Media. Raise your hand. Thank you. And our esteemed colleague is Jamie Geiger, our, as we mentioned in the last one, producer, director, videographer, sound guy, wardrobe, editor. Did I miss anything?
I think that's it.
I think that's it.
Well, and see, that's why I'm still in these clothes, because since we've had to separate and go into quarantine, there's been nobody to dress me.
Right. No.
So
Yeah, exactly.
I am
That's right.
just going to wear these till they...
No quick change artist.
So our first topic was how to work remotely, as Underscore's been doing this for a while. So I encourage you to check that out. But this one, we want to focus on, obviously, the reason we're doing this remotely and not at the newest location we had found for episode 3, which was a lovely bar, the Famished Frog in Morristown, that hopefully we will film a new series there, or a new episode there shortly. But given the times, we wanted to talk about pharmaceutical marketing in the COVID-19 timeline, both HCP and patient.
But before we dive in too far into serious discussion here, we obviously have to pour. What are we pouring here, Dave?
So this is actually interesting. We all found out we have some sort of Glenfiddich in our houses.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did.
So we're gonna sample that this time.
What does everybody have? I have a 12.
I have a 12.
So I have essentially it's their experimental series number 2, and it's finished in IPA casks, which I thought was a nice tie into some of the beers that you're probably more used to seeing if you're one of our avid fans.
Well, see, now that the IPA cask, that interested me.
So we're going neat on this?
Absolutely.
Okay.
You know, I'm going neat. I might do a little splash of water if it needs to be opened up. But I'm
That's
gonna go
fair.
neat.
We'll go neat. That's fine.
My normal Scotch, if I'm going to go to Scotch, is the Glenlivet Nadura, the cask strength Glenlivet.
I have not had that one.
Man, I'll bring a bottle next time.
Luckily, we're
all
recording
in
this,
an
so I can
office.
check the tape and see what that name was again.
Nadura.
That's right. That's right.
I'm actually a bourbon guy. I don't dislike Scotch by any means, but I just seem to go towards bourbon more. And I usually put it on the rocks, 2 or 3 in there, nothing crazy. But
No, I used to.
This is a delicious.
This is fantastic.
I used to be a bourbon guy, but ever since the cask strength Scotches, that's what moved me over.
Jamie, it's rude to
So
talk
smooth.
through the Cheers sampling moment. We're gonna have to.
That is
probably
extremely
do that
smooth.
again.
And as we discovered, Glenfiddich. Glenfiddich. Whatever. Oliver, talk to me about the HCP aspect of the effect of COVID-19 on an HCP marketing angle.
Right, of course. So obviously here, there have been some key changes across the landscape here in the United States. One of which is that, unfortunately with the sales force really unable to interact directly with physicians and other HCPs, you've seen a real pullback in the ability to influence, communicate with, and really interact with those physicians in real time, just because everybody is essentially on lockdown or looking to reduce any non-essential in-person activities.
So there's a major shift, just has to be, towards NPP versus the promotional, more non-personal promotional, and we've actually had a couple clients starting to shift dollars over into more digital budgets to try to maintain that communication and that top of mind awareness with some of the HCP markets.
That's right, and so one of the things that's critical to understand right now as a marketer in this landscape is, really to determine the role of digital and the role of non-personal promotion in particular, in terms of how important that's going to be to continue maintaining your frequency and your touch points with that qualified audience. Look, HCPs are captive just like us. So, the ability to
They're people too.
They're people too, right? And the ability to get a critical message to them, even out, think outside standard office hours, is ripe for the taking right now with folks binging Netflix. I don't know about you guys. I've seen Tiger King. If you get past episode 1,
I'm in episode 1. I'm trying to get. All right. We'll do a separate episode on that.
Yeah.
And it's the conversation. So in certain categories, especially things that are chronic, orphan disease, things like that, where there isn't a chance, like you can't just not get your medication this time or not have that follow-up conversation. Telemedicine is getting big. We've had a couple conversations with some vendors that are building out a telemedicine platform that has advertising opportunities in it. But what that still means, even forget that, but in reaching these HCPs, they are still talking to patients now. They have to. These patients need to have those conversations. So you still need to be in front of these HCPs even throughout all of this.
Absolutely. And just to go back to telemedicine for a second, that's going to have legs. So a lot of people are talking about how telemedicine is suddenly important and is suddenly
it's just jump-starting now from a necessity perspective.
Yeah, it is jump-starting it. In speaking with several physicians that are colleagues of mine, it's something that they've wanted to see for a long time because it allows them to really interact with patients that, let's be honest, might have difficulty traveling, taking time out of work, taking time away from family, whatever it might be be on site for some of these essential treatments. So that's here to stay in a trend that we all need to collectively watch and take advantage of as a way to get our critical messages to the audience.
And on the patient side, we're actually seeing a significant influx of social activity. I mean, you're home, you're doing what you got to do there. So there's an opportunity there for listening, advertising, a lot of opportunities there for the patient aspect of it.
Yeah, and believe it or not, we know that physicians are monitoring social media more as a way to gauge effectiveness of treatments, as a way to gauge the patient communities that they serve. And so now, even more than ever, it's becoming ever present and an opportunity to not only influence your patient groups or your caregiver groups, but honestly to help tie your marketing efforts together between what you're doing to reach those professionals specifically, but then also how you're trying to pull that through to the patient and caregiver audience.
So is the net here you don't have to shift money into NPP, but you have to make sure you're maintaining that activity and staying top of mind because these HCPs are still visiting your big item, your big vendors or your big portals like the Medscapes and the Doximities. Mm-hmm. They're still active there. You have to still make sure you're active. If you have extra and can put more towards it to supplement now that there isn't the personal promotion happening, fantastic. But you definitely have to maintain your activity.
Yeah, let's be honest. Step 1 is ensuring that you're protecting that investment and maintaining that activity. Step 2, however, is a little bit more tricky because there might be opportunities to pull back spend in some of your other that traditionally you might be relying on, thinking about print, thinking about things like point of care. If patients aren't traveling to the office, caregivers aren't going to these appointments with them, are you really getting the maximum return on those dollars that you're spending for those assets? That's one of those challenges. Now, typically they're going to have longer cancellation clauses. You might open up that,
and it's something you'd want to
for a competitor,
and you wouldn't necessarily want to cancel it. It's a lot of these tactics you might want to pause, like a lot of POC things you might want to pause until things are back in order, and supplement if you can with more of the promotional items in place. But a lot of these places are, everyone is all in this together, so you're going to have to push things out when you have to.
A lot of what we're hearing too from a concern standpoint on clients is my message still valuable if my target audience can't necessarily act on it in the short term? So what does that mean? Let's say that you are looking to target a patient, but you need them to walk into a doctor's office, have that conversation in order to convince a doctor that, hey, they should be shifted onto your therapy. Well, I think the challenge is we're seeing a lot of competitive activity remain very strong in digital. So I think it's about thinking of your media a little bit differently. It's about protecting the level of awareness you currently have and keeping up that frequency so the brand remains top of mind for when action can be taken down the road.
There we go. Not to mention conferences, which is a whole different conversation, which maybe we'll get to in a little while.
Yeah, a lot of them are going virtual.
A lot of them are going virtual.
We'll get to that, though. Yeah. Until next time. Cheers from the Media Mixology crew. Jamie, Oliver.
So good.
Cheers. Oh.